The injuries are starting to pile up at Rams training camp. How concerning is it? Also, this Rams rookie is standing out early in the first couple of days of pads. I think it's a big development potentially. Also, what are the other big takeaways from training camp? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do me a huge favor. Join the party, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you're a longtime subscriber and you want to support the show every day, hit the like button and drop a comment down below. Podcast listeners, write us a review. We'll read it live on the show. My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me DMAC. You can follow me on LA at DMAC_LA on X and Instagram. I've covered LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 Sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation, NFL Radio for Westwood One. Today I'm flying solo. The People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers, back tomorrow. We've got a jam-packed show. We are talking Rams training camp, all the buzz, everything that's going on. What are the big takeaways? And we're going to start with some of the injuries. But first, today's episode of Locked On Rams is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Okay, so Rams training camp is in full swing, and the injuries have started. The injuries have started to pile up a little more than you would have liked. And the one we're going to start with is the one that Emmanuel Forbes Jr. did suffer. And he's gone off to a great start. It's his first training camp with the Rams. He gained weight this offseason. He put on muscle. He really just went all in with the Rams development and just the knowledge of the playbook and Chris Shula's system. Well, that trajectory where he was trending is going to be put on hold for a little bit because he left the field with trainers by his side and he was evaluated for a hamstring injury. Sean McVay did give an update after practice. He said that Forbes felt his hamstring during the red zone drills, and after trying to take the field for all the team drills after that, McVay and Aubrey Pleasant, assistant head coach, they were just veering on the side of caution, and they held him out and prevented him from practicing for the rest of practice. McVay said he just felt his hamstring a little bit. I don't have any updates. It was in one-on-ones in the red zone. He tried to take the first team rep, and Aubrey and I were on the same page. Let's be smart with him, especially with a soft tissue. So, in the grand scheme of things, this is not one of the worst, right? ACL, Achilles, those things, and significant stuff. But I think for Forbes' sake, any injury that prevents him from continuing to just hit the ground running with this team is something that I don't like to see just because I have high hopes for him. I think the ceiling is high. I think when you look at their cornerback and their secondary room and guys there, he's the one guy that say to yourself, hey, if this guy pops, he can really be something for this team and he can really make this Rams organization look incredibly smart because they claimed him off of waivers from the Commanders last year after he was waived by Washington. He was first round pick in 2023. He did not see things work out there with the Commanders, but the Rams, they think internally that they have something in him. And what they like the most about him is his ability to make plays, to be a ball hawk, to potentially create turnovers, something that this secondary has lacked in the last couple of seasons. And the other thing that you want to pay attention to is the fact that he has been getting reps with the first-team defense. So when you're getting reps with that first-team defense at this stage of training camp this early on, it says that if things go the way that the Rams hope, if things go the way that Forbes hopes, well, he is going to be making a play for playing time early on this season. And that's how it should be, right? You didn't want to put too much pressure on him last year to kind of be the savior or just, okay, let's plug you in and maybe you do more harm than good in the long run. You really went through this process the right way with Forbes. And that's why, hey, if things go like a lot of people think they will, I expect to see him earlier than later in the season. So that's why this hamstring injury is just a downer, really, because he has so much spark, so much life. A lot of people speaking so highly of him with his play, also just how he's embraced the new system with Chris Shula. They want to see him perform. So hopefully this is nothing that's going to linger. Hopefully it's not something that's going to really hurt his year, but it is one of several injuries that have really taken their toll on Rams training camp. We've talked a lot about Matthew Stafford's back injury, and he's obviously the biggest name. He's QB1. He's their franchise quarterback. He's the most important player on this team, and it's not even close. Number one with a bullet. And Sean McVay did say that he was going to miss the first week of training camp because of the back soreness. Now it's a week-to-week situation because the back injury is lingering. Fans are kind of up in arms on X and Instagram kind of about this. They're starting to be concerned for sure just because we saw what happened in 2022 during training camp when Matthew Stafford wasn't able to build that chemistry with Allen Robinson. And it was the elbow and not the back. So the elbow and the arm is more concerning than the back. But that was something that lingered the whole year. So that's the parallel there is injury early on in camp, out longer than expected, injury lingered the entire year, and then Stafford not building that chemistry with Devontae Adams and just continuing to just be that present. So hopefully this is just veteran quarterback that they're being just overly cautious with, knowing that just from a get-ready standpoint for him, he knows what he needs to do. You have a lot of veterans on this team anyway that he's played with. Devontae Adams is kind of the one guy you want to see him just build that rapport and chemistry with. But on the same note, Devontae Adams, much more established receiver, than a Allen Robinson, right? So I think from that standpoint, you can trust that. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you that I wake up at 3:30 in the morning in a cold sweat thinking about Matthew Stafford's back, because you just think to yourself, well, he hasn't played football in what? Months, right? But he has a back injury. So it's just kind of like guy that is, hey, this is called just welcome to your 30s, welcome to your late 30s type thing for Matthew Stafford, or is this something else? I will say that I'm not as worried because it's not like he's had an MRI. And if he's had an MRI, that would tell you that they thought there could be something to look for. And then two, we would kind of know about. So if the Rams had any real legitimate concern, he would have already had an MRI by now. And I saw a video of him. He's kind of in good spirits, hanging around. Didn't look like he was uncomfortable or kind of walking around with a bulky back. So, yeah, I mean, if it was his shoulder, if it was his elbow, if it was his knees, I'd be more concerned. A sore, stiff back, I mean, as long as it's no herniations or things like that, he should be okay with some rest. And that's kind of the number one thing is, hey, you just cannot have a setback to your quarterback heading into the season, especially with a softer schedule and an opportunity to put some money in the bank early on in this season, stack some wins, and not have to climb yourself out of a hole like they did last year when they started 1-4. Now, some other injuries to talk about to some of these veterans, kind of knick-knack stuff, of course, the Alec Jackson blood clot thing, we've talked about that. He's been dealing with that since late May. It's went into June, and he's taken the medication. He's taken to it well, from what I'm told. But he hasn't been able to really get to the next step as far as, hey, I mean, he's going through drills, individual stuff. He's on the field, very limited. And the fact is the second time he's dealt with this is something that you're always going to be concerned about just because it is a very serious thing. But the hope is right now he'll be ready to go when the season starts. Other ones, Ahkello Witherspoon dealing with a calf injury. So Sean McVay reported in his last media availability session that he's nursing a calf injury, that he's day-to-day, that it doesn't seem very serious at all whatsoever. But with the Rams putting on the pads and you're wanting to kind of just get those reps in and just have that dude on the field, definitely someone to monitor. Another one to monitor regarding a calf injury, Chris Paul. When I think of who is my favorite Chris Paul that plays for a professional Los Angeles sports team, I don't think of CP3. I think of Chris Paul Jr., the rookie for the Rams. 5th-round pick. He's also dealing with a calf injury. He did miss the last 2 practices. Sean McVay said that the medical team is also veering on the side of caution. They're trying to play it safe and be smart. So you kind of just look at this. It does feel like a lot of these are kind of short-term stuff. Nothing serious, nothing lingering. I think the only one that really kind of gives me more concern is the Emmanuel Forbes one, just because it is a hamstring injury, and you just kind of hate those because those definitely kind of stick with you. So you might need to miss more time. But we know how the Rams are, right? If there's the check engine light on, they take it straight to the dealership. And you know that car is under bumper-to-bumper warranty at $100,000. You know they paid for the premium stuff. So that's just kind of how they do business with the Rams. They don't let their players go out there and basically play when they're dealing with something, because they know that training camp, preseason, all this stuff, it's not as important as being available when the season starts. Health is wealth, and that's the number one thing for this Rams organization. But coming up next, a rookie standout after the pads have been on that gets me very excited, and more takeaways from Rams training camp. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. And a reminder that today's episode of Locked On Rams is brought to you by our friends over at Gametime. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Gametime comes in. Gametime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. And the thing I love about Gametime, it just makes things so easy. You can see where the tickets are. It's been a lot of concerts in LA this summer. Kendrick Lamar, Blackpink, The Weeknd, My Chemical Romance at Dodger Stadium was legendary. And if you're just tired of scrolling endlessly, trying to find the best deal, Gametime Zone Deals picks the best seats in your section for you. And if you've ever wondered what your view actually looks like before you buy, the Gametime app allows you a panoramic seat view, so there's no surprises. So with Gametime, the price you see is the price you pay, no hidden fees. And if you're worried about what happens if plans change, the Gametime guarantee has your back with cancellation protection and more. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL. It's LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We are Von Miller days away from the Rams opening game against the Texans. That, of course, is 40 days. 40 days away. Believe it or not, summer's coming to an end. Football season's almost here. The best season of the year is football season. It's not spring. It's not summer. It's not winter. It is football season, which stretches from fall to winter. Greatest time of the year and the greatest time to join the Everyday Listeners Club. All you have to do is watch or listen to every single episode of Locked On Rams, and then you won't miss a thing about your favorite football team. Okay, so a quick update from Rams camp and more injury news. And this one, unfortunately, appears like it could be more serious. Hopefully it's not. But the injury bug continues to sink its teeth into the Rams football team early on training camp, because now Cameron Curl had to be taken to the sideline with a lower body injury. So Originally, Curl, it looked like he did get rolled up on, and he limped off the field with the trainer. They go to the medical tent. He was walking gingerly. He was putting some pressure on that right leg, but it does look like he was carted off. So the trainers are looking at the lower right leg, and Sean McVay hasn't talked about it yet or the severity of it. But as you can see from the video, he does get carted off after he was trying to walk off. So it's unclear exactly the specifics of this injury. Hopefully it's nothing very significant, because Cam Curl, he played essentially every single snap when he was healthy last year. It was his first year with the Rams, and he's going to be an essential part of this defense, an integral part of what the Rams are doing on that side of the football this year. So that'd be big if this is something that is major, but I don't think it appears to be, but we'll see if he has to miss any time. But anytime you got a cart, lower body, you start to get a little more concerned. Oh, and then we just got an update too. So just got an update from Sean McVay. Sean McVay just said that his ankle was stepped on during practice. Then Reggie Scott said that he seemed to feel like there could be some positive things with regards to the injury. So that sounds to me like it's not serious to the point, but we'll get an update once they have more clarity. So kind of the big takeaway, though, is there has been a good amount of injuries early on. Just giving you guys the facts with that kind of stuff. But now let's talk about some positives. And the positive that I'm most excited to talk to you about is a rookie that is standing out early on at Rams training camp. And it's a guy that I kind of planted my flag on. I bought a lot of condos on Jarquez Hunter Island. I pretty much have the most real estate on that island of anyone, I think, in the media at this point, because I've wanted the Rams to diversify that backfield for years now. They were last in the league when it comes to explosive runs. That's just not what Kyren Williams does. Great running back, but not the explosive type of running back, right? Lots of thunder, but the Rams, they needed more lightning. And early on in training camp, Jarquez Hunter has gotten Sean McVay's attention. And it's because of the playmaking ability. It's because he runs hard. It is because you can't teach speed. And when that speed is on display, like we've seen it early on in training camp from Jarquez Hunter, it makes you say to yourself, hey, we've missed that. We haven't had that home run hitter like we've seen when they had Todd Gurley in the backfield, when he was the best running back in the league at one point. Kyren, lots of singles, lots of doubles, but you haven't had the Rams running backs hitting triples and home runs, and Hunter certainly is capable of that. And McVay said about the rookie running back, quote, I thought you saw Jarquez do an excellent job. He's heavy. He's got a great body lean. Even though we're not truly tackling, you can feel he is heavy through the hole. He has a really good demeanor. He can stare a hole through you. I like that. That makes me excited. Just like he's got dog in him. He's continuing to show improvement. I think Kyren has done a great job setting the tone. I've been really pleased with Corum. Jarquez definitely showing really well today. I just want to say that I think that this is going to be the best Rams backfield as a group that we've seen in a long, long time. I mean, there were a couple years ago, thinking about Cam Akers never really working out, and Ronnie Rivers and guys like that. You bring in a Sony Michel before that, and you got Royce Freeman, names like that, right, that are plugging in when guys are injured. But I like the youth of this group. Blake Corum, year 2, won a national championship at Michigan. He's someone that has the bowling ball running style. His quick cuts in the backfield, making guys miss, and then just accelerating. And then now Hunter, who can do this at a much more physical and explosive level. That is your number 3 running back. I think that really, really bodes well for what he can do for this team. I think he's going to push for some playing time. I think as a rookie, they're going to have some designs, some packages for him, and see what he can do. Because I think he's one of those guys where if you earn the trust of Sean McVay early, you're not fumbling, you know where you're supposed to be, you flash? Well, if you do it early, you're going to get some opportunities throughout this season. I think they're excited about him. I really, really do. Another name that I'm really excited to talk about that stood out is Poona Ford. And I think that Poona Ford is one of the sneaky additions in the NFL in the offseason. It's an addition that doesn't get talked about a ton just because it was a little under the radar. But I think when you look at this Rams team trying to solidify the defense and having a guy that can stop the run, he's certainly a guy that fills that role in a big way. That is what he does at a top level, at an elite level around the league. And Kobe Turner's talked about him. Sean McVay's talked about him. Sean McVay mentioned about him that he did an excellent job and that he's excited that he has a player like that in the mix. So you're getting a veteran. You're getting a guy that kind of does something they didn't have, just a big bully run stopper up front. And we saw last year, Saquon Barkley, guys like that. Just kind of getting that push up the middle. I think he's going to upgrade at that position with Bobby Brown gone. So Kobe Turner talked about him as well. And I think Kobe Turner has really just emerged as one of the big leaders on the defensive side of the football for the Rams. He said about Poona Ford, Poona, you saw his word today. I was over there trying some of the things that he did. Not too much success, but I'm going to work on it. Just the way that he commands attention, the way that he defeats double teams. Then obviously he has a lot of pass rush ability that's going to be able to help us well. That's shown on the other days, but today was run heavy, and he showed up today. That was really big. So you always love to hear players talking about players. I think Sean McVay, of course, he wants to be positive, the eternal optimist, and I love hearing that because, really, the Rams have a lot of really good players, and it's easy to speak glowingly of them. But when players speak about other players and the admiration that they have for them, it does carry some weight. It absolutely does. And I think that Poona Ford has made a really strong impression on his teammates early on. And I think that they realize what he brings to this team. And a lot of these guys, it's getting to the quarterback, right? Jared Verse, Kobe Turner, the conductor, Byron Young, Braden Fisk, and guys like that. It's getting pressure on the quarterback, being a disruptor. Poona Ford is a guy that's here to do the dirty work. And it's not a glamorous thing to stop the run as much as getting to QB. But that's something that I think was such a point of emphasis for this team is, hey, how do we improve this defense on the margins in any way we can? And I think that they said, you know what? We'll get you to stay at the SoFi Stadium, but you don't have to be with the renters anymore, right? You can come home to the flagship NFL franchise of Los Angeles. And I think that recruiting effort by the Rams, I think it was big, and they got their guy. And I think it's going to be massive for this team in 2025. I really, really do. But coming up next, more standouts. Puka Nacua. We haven't talked Puka yet. How's he looking? How's Jared Verse looking? How's Tyler Davis looking? All that more coming up next on Locked On Rams. And a reminder that today's episode of Locked On Rams brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy football is back. Fire up the group chat, get your draft board ready, and buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, buzz, and all the overreactions we live for. It's all going down on Yahoo Fantasy. Me and Travis this year, we're playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. And Yahoo Fantasy has been awesome. I've used Yahoo Fantasy for years. I love how smooth the draft day experience is. Our league's been running through Yahoo for a while now, and it's just a great, easy setup, great mobile app, which is very important for me. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm making my lineup changes up until that kickoff, so it's great to have it on the app. You don't have to have the laptop way out and all that stuff. You use on the mobile app, which makes it very convenient. And all the smack talk, let's just be honest, it hits different on the message boards. That's my favorite thing about Yahoo Fantasy is those message boards when you got bragging rights, you're playing with friends, you're playing with family, you're playing with coworkers. Hey, who's got the best football ball knowledge? and whose fantasy team is on top. That's kind of where you flex on those message boards. And to celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win. And it all begins August 4th. So stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That's yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. And let's make this fantasy season the best one yet. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Okay, let's dive back into who's turning heads, who's standing out early on at Rams training camp. Got to talk some Puka Nacua because Devontae Adams, he's resting. He's been out to start camp. Yes, you don't have Matthew Stafford, but you still have Stetson Bennett and Dresser Wynn. And Puka Nacua has looked great. He's catching every ball that's been thrown his way. He made an incredible one-handed catch. It was a throw by Jimmy Garoppolo, who's the top QB right now in camp with Stafford out. And you just look at this catch. He's jumping through the air, just snatched it. He's stretching, and it's just, man, it really looks like he's like his body, like it's like there's more athletic in some capacity. He's kind of leaned out a little bit. And I wouldn't say he's just picking up where he left off. I think that it looks like he's possibly leveling up. And even if he doesn't put up the stat line that he put up his rookie year, I think you can level up by the fact that, okay, you're limiting your drops, the way you're getting open, the way you're getting in and out of your breaks, the efficiency of your game, touchdowns. I think that he just put in a lot of work. I think just from a IQ standpoint, you're getting more comfortable and just understanding the different schemes of Sean McVay's offense. And I really, if he's healthy, man, I expect a top 5 to 10 receiver season for him. He's a top 10 receiver. He ain't 10. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. And he looks really good early on. They got Jared Verse. Jared Verse coming to the camp, all the confidence in the world, won Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he looks like he's just already building. Sean McVay said about Verse, you really felt Jared Verse's presence in practice on Monday. He said that he's someone that just really heads into camp just with a renewed sense of, okay, like I just want to continue to get better, that he wants to be great. And that's something that's very evident is Jared Verse wants to be great. And there's no doubt about that. Kobe Turner said about Verse, you guys saw and probably heard him, but of course, 8 showed up again today. So I think he's one of those guys where we know he's great, right? Just from a physical standpoint, athletic, strong, fast, just an absolute freak of a dude. And I mean that in the best way possible. But what I love about Jared Verse, man, is like he's that loud dude that like increases the energy level of a practice, that talks some smack, that gets his guys going. I mean, look, if you're a scout out there, if you're a GM out there, if you're trying to build this team, look, like you want guys for their measurables, how productive they are. You can't demand that they do things like Jared Verse does them from a personality standpoint. I think that is the cherry on top to him as a player. I think that he's got that tool in his bag where he's a elevator, a leader, and I love watching him social media clips, in person. I mean, he's always talking, but it's with a purpose, and his talking, I think, elevates those around him. I definitely am a big believer in that, especially at this point of the season. And then there's Tyler Davis, kind of someone that's kind of lower on this list as just far as Rams players with notable names, kind of the big brand names of the Rams right now, the Verses and the Nacuas and things like that. But Tyler Davis has also impressed. And Sean McVay talked about him. Kobe Turner talked about him. McVay said about Tyler Davis that, quote, he really showed why he's a total stud and a guy that's going to be a major factor for us. So that's, I mean, for McVay, he's going to be a major factor. That's really, really big. I mean, that's big time stuff. That's very, very significant praise from your head coach. And then Kobe Turner, he was asked about him as well. And it's kind of good to see the guys that they're right next to in practice and their perspective. He said that he's one of the most consistent guys and that he considers him one of the best 4 D linemen on the team right now. Kobe Turner said about Tyler Davis, quote, he is consistent. Tyler Davis is one of the most consistent guys you're around. He was in all the time this offseason. I'm working out with him with Fisk and Puna. But when you see the technical aspect, we have a lot of guys who are not the biggest guys, but able to succeed at this level. You have stellar technique in the way that he plays double teams, the way that he plays on the inside of his toes, the way that he strikes blocks. It's everything that you want. The top 4 right now of our D-line room, we're all practically interchangeable. He's one of those top 4. I'm excited to continue to work with him. That guy shows up day in and day out, and he's consistent. You know exactly what you're going to get. I love the consistency, and that's something that really separates guys in this league. It's okay. Some guys, all right, this play, this game, this moment, but it's the every single play when maybe you're not as motivated, right? Maybe you're a little nicked up, maybe this, maybe that. Mentally, you're maybe just a little bit fatigued, checked out. But to be consistent, to be disciplined in this league, it's not easy. And I love to hear that about Tyler Davis. And I'm very excited about this year for him. Like I said, there's good things to feel good about. There's things to feel bad about. I don't feel great about the injuries. I do like hearing what I'm hearing from some of these early returns. And the truth is, they're not going full bore, right? I mean, we still have a lot of football to get into, but there is a great energy at Rams camp, and it is not a homer take to say that. It really is. There's a great energy. There's a vibe around this team. There's just a level of, okay, we know that this could be a special group, and I think just being around teams that have won championships, you feel that kind of stuff early on. You know, I've been around the Dodgers in close quarters in spring training, and they know, hey, man, we don't want to waste this opportunity because we know that when you're world champions, that lasts forever. I think the Rams kind of feel that with this team is, hey, this team is built to win this season and down the line, but it's a special group. Biggest thing, I want to see Matthew Stafford back out there, but that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.